So if you can see this one here is original. The further one back is the new one, and if you can see, this one stands up much more than this one, and it's this one that's the old one or the new one, sorry, that's pushing the rim over. So I somehow have to get the spoke to behave in the same way as the original. Now I have spoken to the supplier, and you know, the quality of the rest of the rim, quality of the front one spokes, everything's brilliant. It's just this is wrong, and it's difficult to figure out how to correct this. I've had this before, but not to this extent. Okay, because what you normally have to do is, we're talking about like, it's a millimetre. Okay, I have measured it. There's a millimetre difference, right? And what you can sometimes do is just remove the inner shoulder. If you see this, well, you probably can't see because it's so small, but how they formed this, it's actually slightly thicker than the original. But you can actually physically see, I don't know if you can, but this length is longer than this. Not only that, but this length is also is flat, whereas this one just maintains a curve. So it's probably actually butting inside there. And if I look at the lens, then I can see that. No, it's not in the lens, but that's what it is, right? So they formed this curve too much. It's, you know, if it's a mil or 2 mil too long, what the hell, it doesn't make any difference. Making it a mil or 2 mil too short is just a nightmare. Okay, so I'm gonna have to have a think. So this is where I've got to. So I've investigated a little bit more what the issue is with these spokes. I've spoken to the supplier again. They're stepping up. I'll be honest with you, they don't understand what's happened. They say that these are the same spokes are sent out before and there's not been an issue. I can't comment on that. I can only comment on the evidence as presented, as you say. But what I can see is this, and I don't know how well this comes across, but if you look at this section here, right, there is a straight section, okay, and on the new one here, it is almost entirely curved, right. Now, when the spokes are tightened, what they should do is land on this face here, right, and in reality this should remain clear, right, through the hole. Now on this one, I think because there is very little straight section, right, it's actually contacting here, and the problem you then have is, if you imagine you've got your hole and the spoke coming through, right, and it's contacting here, what can happen is that eventually this will relieve, right, you know, this will distort, and that'll make the spoke come loose in service. So you just have to retension the spoke, but it's not good. And what I would say about this as well, look, if you do this, if you go for doing this spoke, and I always advise people to have a bash at it. If you get to the point that I've got to with this, which is where, you know, what you should do is put all the spokes in, and you should be able to rattle the rim around, right, before you do the final tensioning. On this one, I couldn't even get the second row of spokes in because it was just too taut, just on the first row. Right, if you get to that point, you've got to stop. Okay, the one thing you don't do is you know, try pushing the spokes in and bending them or something to get them in and things like that. Don't do that. Okay, it's either loose, which is good because remember it's got to land on this face here, not on this face here. Right, it's got to do that, or you're gonna have a problem in service. Okay, so just don't do it. So the hole, if you imagine, sorry, is a bit like that. I should draw that out there, shouldn't I? Sorry. It's a bit like that. Right, so I was imagining that maybe this taper was too shallow, but when I look at this, the taper appears to be pretty much the same. Okay, this bit looks a bit different because it's actually got a bit more meat to it, but it shouldn't make much difference. So I'm not going to gain anything by increasing the angle of this taper. I will, you can relieve some of the edge on here, but you don't want to take too much off. What I am going to do though is this, right? I'm actually going to scallop the hole, if you like, so the edge of the hole. So if you imagine, I'm going to take a piece of material like that off, right, in the direction that the spoke lies. Okay, so it'll be this direction going here, and remember it's the opposite one on the other rim and the other side, so it'll actually be, the scallop will be different. So the amount I'm going to take off here is going to, because if you look at this here, the difference in length is around about 1 mil. Right, when you come down here and you measure this, it's around about 1 mil. Okay. Yeah, so that's it, spoked. It was a bit of a battle. The scalloping worked. There was slight manufacturing tolerance differences between some of them, so as I was building it, every now and again I'd come across one which I'd then have to do again. I can't true this one because I don't have the spindle for this. I don't know what I've done with it. I know I've had it, but I haven't got it. So I'll do the smaller wheel, the front wheel, because I do have that one. That's the rear wheel done. What an absolute pig that was. It was. There's so many things just not quite right with it, but it's pulled in. I mean, part of it may well be the spokes, I just don't know, but it wasn't, normally, there are obviously axes that you've got to get in, the thing's got to be in the middle, and it can be out of plane this way, you're in, and normally it's, it's clear, but this was like almost wavy in places, so I've got it to within a mil, and I'll be honest with you, I think I'm getting close to manufacturing tolerances at that, deviations in the manufacturer, so Taz should be able to pull it out. I rather suspect I'm going to have to get it back onto this and then balance the wheel. I mean, you can see it there. So going backwards and forwards, that's because the it's out of balance. I'll just show you this, if you can hear this. And if you're wondering what that is, that's either rust products or most likely just material that's stuck in these chambers here. And what they do is they create a variable out of balance, which is honestly this rear wheel. You're not great. I mean, the good news is that you never go fast enough on these old bikes. I mean, this is a 73 bike, 73, 76, something like that. So you're not going to be doing 100 mile an hour down the road on this thing. Well, hopefully you won't. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see where they've scalloped it there? It doesn't look too bad actually. Yeah, so hopefully you're not going to be doing that. So it shouldn't make a difference. But honestly, on a brand new wheel to hear that, hopefully you can't hear it once it's all put back together. But not great at all.